Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in and focusing in on a very great viewer question that we got in that's actually very common, and that is, why does a psychopath enjoy or take pleasure or have basically an end result in the relationship where they're constantly going to hurt others? Why do they want to hurt others? How can they have this capacity? Why would they want to do this? Why? Well, I'll have you to understand that a psychopath, a female psychopath included, does not have a neural network that allows them the ability to feel, connect, become attached to, and care for others. So this, of course, is empathy, but it's deeper than having empathy. In other words, being able to understand another's needs, wishes, desires, feelings, and take them into consideration. They do not have the ability to what we call love or even experience fear. They don't get connected to these sort of normal, natural human emotions. So they are oftentimes called or labeled antisocial personality disorder individuals. They oftentimes will then lack a conscience, so lack a sense of right or wrong, and really, see that in others that they are following and abiding by or living by certain decisions, behaviors, relationships, pursuits, which are founded on these. So it's inextricable to a human, what we call humanity, to be able to have these feelings. So care, consideration, beauty, celebration, the abstracts of liberty, the higher abstracts of relationship building, self-actualization, wanting to contribute, wanting to celebrate, and engage in certain flirting behaviors, certain laughing behaviors, certain things that we see when we see movies, or feel when we see hear music, or when we see a bird in flight, or a beautiful natural phenomenon such as a rainbow, or a beautiful scenery or a landscape, or raising children, the sort of connection and bond. A psychopath does not have this. What they have is a very lacking of this. So all those things that we just mentioned, that normally keep people bonded, connected, wanting to have a pet, wanting to have a home, wanting to have a family, wanting to have a career, wanting to have a legacy. All these things are like part of your life purpose, or, part of your divine self, which you then learn to embrace and develop, and then gives you your life, your meaning and content. A psychopath does not have this. They have based on their neural wiring, and just the inactivity of these parts of the brain that are related to judgment, morality, feeling fear, and that sort of fight or flight, they do not possess. So they're lacking of a conscience. So where most people would say, no, that's not right, that's horrible. They have no brakes. For them, they have a sensitivity. Instead, what they have is a hypersensitivity to the neurochemical dopamine, which is like your reward. It's your feel good. So in other words, when you're doing something you love, like let's say you love horseback riding, and you're loving to connect with that animal and groom for it and take care of it, and it's your buddy, that is a dopamine release in you, and also a serotonin, which is a feel good neurotransmitter, and it leads you to trust in your decisions, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and then be attuned to your life purpose and know your pleasures and be able to back them up. And so a psychopath, female psychopath included, has a hypersensitivity to. So when this is released, they are really addicted to it. So they will pursue it with like no holds barred. So they will feel energized or juiced by whatever it is that they're targeting. And they also have a lack of the bonding chemicals, which are part of humanity. So and then also a presence oftentimes of testosterone, which depletes their empathy. So it's like a real aggressiveness that they are backing up their they're pursued or target of. So oftentimes what this causes is a high risk behavior and a propensity to get arousal or quote unquote feeling or quote unquote bond from bypassing the normal boundaries. So we see hyperarousal. So when they see others get hyper connected to them, they feel a sense of connection. They're able to, they look out into a party and they're able to kind of get a real keen read on others. Who are the vulnerable people? Who are those people who have a high content or a high amount, a large amount of feelings, empathy, naivete? They consider this an easy target. Those people who are, caring, loving, and who, just, aren't aware of or unassumptive of the, hurtful ability of others. So those people who, are very, soft, what a psychopath might label as soft. These people are vulnerable. They're oftentimes the most loving, sweethearted, kind people you'll ever want to meet. The people who get targeted. I mean, the sweetest, the kindest, the most giving, nurturing, just really sweetest pie type of people, who are unassuming of the, and they basically, are not hurtful people. And they're, those people who are often the ones who are targeted and stay in a relationship the longest with a psychopath because they don't see it. And a psychopath will oftentimes kind of like, I call it kind of like the cat beating, the mouse, where the cat is kind of like bitten the mouse and the mouse is kind of still, squirming around and the mouse just keeps batting it around. The psychopath will stay with their victim and oftentimes marry and become wedded to that type of engagement where they have just kind of like the fangs of addiction and they know that they're hurting them and they know that this other person is not able to see what they're doing. In other words, what might be obvious to them, texting their target, pursuing their target, scheduling dates or get-togethers, or cheating on their wife at simultaneously, like at a restaurant. In other words, doing this sort of double and triple life maneuvers. Violating children. Being aroused. In public places, violating of boundaries, natural normative social norms, which communities are founded on and built on, which is natural, what we call integrity, ethics. They, are then aroused and then, by violating of this. And so you'll see them go after this and that's kind of what their pleasure is. That's how they relate to others. And then when it's done, you're screaming and clamoring, how could you do this? Oh my God, I can't believe you mortgaged away the house for this business, or I can't believe you did this and this with the neighbor or the kids, or you're shocked and you're like completely dumbfounded and then you're floored and then they're just kind of standing there like it's not really affecting them. And then, because they're then observing, and what they will do is they will then connect with others who have a high amount of empathy and feeling. So they'll learn and study from these people and then be able to pick up, oh, this is what, people would want. In other words, a man would want to feel like he's a good provider. So they'll create opportunities for that man to be a man and then exploit their manhood, exploit their need to provide or be manly or open up the door, or different things like that they will get them to exploit on. And likewise, a female, the female will just take it, in other words, until you give them what they want. Money, it's a very parasitic relationship oftentimes. And so it is very important to realize that, these people will take over one's psychology and one's sort of sense of reality through a gaslighting and, to get away from that, to get away from it 100% and, realize that this is not the healthy relationship which they are giving a mask or persona to. It is not healthy. The fact that you can't sleep, the fact that you are hyper aroused, the fact that you cannot think clearly, the fact that you have your heart beating rapidly and you are terrorized and you're feeling paranoid, or you're having flashbacks and you're constantly dreaming about this person, should give you an idea of the extent of their desire to want to hurt and destroy others. Why would they want to do this? Because this gives them a sense of meaning or connection, like power over others. So they oftentimes, very severe violent criminals, they're locked up for mention. And so, why? Because that is how they connect to others. So just how you relate in the positive, they relate really in the negative, or the powering over of others, or, getting, taking from others where, they have not earned it by ethical integrity means. So, that is the reason why. And if you understand that, yes, it is pre-calculated, yes, it is hardwired in them, and no, they are not going to change, and no, they are not going to learn. And so hence, if you say it's not going to happen again, they do not learn because they do not feel that they have done anything wrong by hurting you. It is just business as usual for them. It is how they engage, and it becomes very serious and severe. To the point where, people are, they, are on the brink of feeling like their life is unreal. They cannot focus. Their bodies are hyper aroused. They engage in obsessive behaviors, compulsive behaviors, and, to kind of, they're kind of like on a hypervigilance mode, which is not healthy. That is not normal. That is not good for you. You need to come down from that. And that's the presence of the addiction, the hyperarousal, the psychological taking over, which they have supplanted into your cognitions, your neurochemicals, your hormones of stress, your cortisol. That is what has been fired up in you. So you need to dysregulate that. You need to come to a state of indifference and a state of humility, and just admit, I had made an error of judgment. I had not known, I could not see how this was slowly occurring, and it is time now. I understand. I understand how I've been engulfed in this, and I had been inextricably tied and unable to get away. But I can see clearly now. It is maybe scary, but I am going to resist the illusion now. I'm going to resist the addiction. I'm going to resist the lies. It is okay. I am. And once you're through this hurt, you really need to really work hard on what I call your affirmations or astramations. When you begin the very simple statement of I am safe, I am focused, I feel whole, you need to give your body commands. And when you do this, you're helping to reset that horrific programming that has been instilled. And it's a very simple command that you need to give, and you need to begin to feel. And then, begin right where you are, just with the I am. Repeat it over and 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 over. You really need to get really accelerating on this. If you feel like you're saying it a lot, that is good, because you need to get that conscious command and focus going. Oftentimes people don't realize the importance of what we call self-talk. And you have been, over obligated or addicted, and now you need to recover. You need to get your hands back on the controls, and basically now get to a space where your inner voice is beginning to be heard, and it is louder than the addiction, louder than the gaslighting, louder than the ruminations, because you're for some period of time, and I would say give it 12 months to 18 months, where you're completely cleansed of this sort of terror, what people might call, PTSD, complex PTSD, even shorter, depending on where you're at. But you need to really work on those astramations. And I call them astramations because when you do this, you are actually sending a clear message out into the universe at large. And when I say the universe, I mean really all the forces that are, like Star Wars, whatever it is you want to call it, you are sending a very clear, loud message out into the universe, the cosmos, the natural laws that are part of life. And it's going to begin to reset who you are, and then your decisions, your choices, your feelings, your behavior, and then furthermore, your identity. So that is a huge, huge shift from one of powerlessness to one of power. And oftentimes it is that power, which is so very awesome and miraculous, where basically it can deliver to your door what you need in terms of everything from feelings, gifts, visions, people, choices, where you're able to astound yourself with the amount of personal power that you have and how quickly it can come into being. And it's allowing those floodgates to happen and just staying with it, staying very much in command, and really repeat those astramations. I am safe. I am inspiration. I feel amazing. I feel awesome. I feel the miraculous. I feel the mystical. I feel the cosmic. I feel the strength. I feel the healing. I feel enlightened. I feel healthy. I feel vibrance. I feel sunlight. All the different things that you feel. I want you to reaffirm those. Reaffirm, reaffirm, reaffirm. You're reconditioning your body in the neural networks that wire and fire, and you're creating a new neural pathwork in your brain, which then connects to your central nervous system and out to your sympathetic nervous system, which is in the outlying bits of your body, which move everything from your feet, your hands, your solar plexus. You're able to move all those now in a new vibrational message, which is based on health. And you'll begin to get stronger, have better balance. And this combined oftentimes with the writing down of these and surrounding yourself with visions and images of this, then brings that into being. And then you're re-educating, reconditioning your mind, your vision, and your prefrontal cortex, which has the ability to visualize for the future. Oftentimes that limbic brain, when you're under the control of a psychopath, you're at a battle. You're in that fear brain, that limbic brain, that fight or flight, and you're not able to kind of think clearly, have a vision for your future, make decisions therefore in your best judgment, and kind of live by vision, which is what you want, what you need, what you desire. Everything from a good dinner, a good place to live, good relationships, a good profession, where you want to go. All these are part of your visualization. And so you really need to give yourself that reinforcement and surround yourself then with the images which correspond to your astramations. And I know I'm going in deep. I know I'm going in long. And I'll try to get these shorter. But your astramations then can be reinforced. If you can pick them up from a magazine, I would recommend going and getting several magazines, 3, 4, 5 magazines, which are with people, places, things you want to have in your life. And I want you to begin to cut them out and put them into your recovery journal. Put them in like a collage, and then keep them out in single format. So, for example, if you want to feel safe, then find an image today which reflects safety. It might be a house with a picket fence. It might be, a view on top of a mountain. It might be, a picture of a puppy dog. It might be a picture of a butterfly. What feels safe to you? What feels freedom? What feels your I am? And what is that image that really resonates with your I am? And I am safe. I am inspired. Find images that now correspond to your astramations. And I want you to have a picture of that. And I want you to put it on your refrigerator, your table, underneath a sheet protector, and also, something that's in your recovery journal. So you can absorb that energy, because believe it or not, the subconscious mind is guided by images. Images of what you want and what you want to become. Not only what you want to have, but what you want to become, how you want to feel, what you want to experience. The subconscious mind is looking for commands. And so I want you to Give your subconscious those images with which you want and need to feel safe, whole, and healed. Picture of, get a picture of a guy in a bubble bath, a guy building a house, a guy, standing strong in musculature. Maybe it's a male ballerina with his legs that are very, very strong. A ballerina with her legs very strong. A woman in a bubble bath. A woman writing. A picture of a woman traveling. A man traveling. Possessing the car that you want. Doing the occupation that you want. Identify what these are. Get a scissors. Get a glue stick. Begin to find images that then connect with your I wants and your astramations. And I want you to combine these with your emotements. We're going to go a little bit more in depth into what emotements are, how you schedule these into your recovery journal and your appointment book. But I'm going to wrap it up now because we're getting long and I want these videos to help. Please share, please subscribe, please donate for more great videos, tools, discussion, and support. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, here today. Love you. Thank you for your viewership.